Good morning, class. This is Ashley Brooks returning to talk a little bit more about the overfishing of coral reefs. Today we're going to cover a little bit about the planning. So first I'm just going to refresh you all on the issue at hand. It's becoming a serious problem that's affecting the health of the reefs and the habitat that sustains the life of the fish, the coral, and other marine life in that area, and also supports a lot of human activities in the area. If we continue at the rate that we are, we're never going to allow the reef time to recover and support itself. And unfortunately, I believe, and a lot of others believe, that it will lead to a complete elimination of the reefs and the inhabitants that it supports. So we're going to establish our vision statement. Our vision is to develop a program that supports the research of coral reefs. We will use best practices to implement policies that conserve and restore coral reef resources while protecting and maintaining the unique ecosystem function of all species dependent on the reefs. So this vision statement, as you can see, is helping us to make an outline of the program we want to support the coral reefs and really have a good research program so we can really establish policies that are going to actually make an impact on saving these areas. So management alternatives, these are based, as you can see, that starting line for each one is based off from the vision statement. So we're going to support research. This is going to be important to really bring facts and information to our stakeholders. We want to be best prepared so that the government and all those involved really know that we have it together. So we'd like to expand protection areas and then conduct those studies and keep an ongoing status report and monitor for positive and negative changes. We're going to utilize the best practices, and what that really means is thinking about everybody involved, all of our stakeholders. This can be a really sensitive area, thinking about fishermen. That's kind of their lifestyle. Well, it is their lifestyle, so they're dependent on those reefs and fishing for their income. But we want to make sure that we're also sensitive to obviously the coral reefs and the fish. So we want to make sure that our policies are established to conserve the fish species, so maybe considering fisheries in the area, and then thinking about the types of gear that can be a big issue that could help to eliminate just destruction of the reefs and then reducing the bycatch. We're going to use forward thinking to use and establish artificial reefs in the area, especially those in extremely affected areas. We're going to create a culture that supports the ethical treatment of the reefs, just so everyone is kind of on board with that. Maybe establish seasonal closures, which would allow for regrowth of reefs and the fish population, and that can also help tourist activities. Less boats in the area can help kind of open the water for scuba diving and snorkeling, that kind of ecotourism. We're going to increase the compliance. So that means enforced patrols, have a bigger presence in the area, kind of making it known that we're here to protect. And then that last one, restore and protect. So we're going to realize that it may not just be the overfishing that's causing destruction. We want to kind of just reduce the population or pollution, in that area. So how is it going to be defined? Our success criteria will be the standards in which the project will be judged at the finish, and how we will decide whether or not the stakeholders will see it as success. So time management. Obviously, you can't just grow populations overnight. So having a good time management will really show that we understand that it's kind of a long-term process. Cost effectiveness. Anybody who's going to invest in this project is going to want to know that we're using their resources appropriately. Quality of the product. That's going to go back to those studies that are going to be conducted over time, making sure that any artificial reefs or even policies that are implemented are really of high standard and quality. Inclusive policies, making sure that fairness is given to kind of each stakeholder as best as possible. And then a thriving ecotourism plan. So that's really going to bring everything together to make sure that everyone is kind of involved in helping the reefs, but also really boosting the effectiveness of what we're doing so that stakeholders stay committed to preserving this area. And then you can see my references here. All right, thank you for listening.